the Creality Ender 3 Pro. You okay? There you are, welcome back. This is the Creality Ender 3 Pro. It is the Pro version of the standard issue Ender 3. So let's see, according to my research, Pro means it has a Meanwell power supply. It has an upgraded 4040 extrusion here for the y-axis, which gives it more stability. And it has a new removable print surface. I think it's funny. They call it the state-of-the-art C-Mag magnetic sticker, and we'll test it out with this wonderful looking benchy here in a moment, I promise. But for all intents and purposes, this is an Ender 3 with a few little additional things. And at time of filming, the Ender 3 standard edition is $179 from the Creality website. This is $209. Whether or not that's worth it, I don't know, but this was sent to me back in June, and there I sat in my kitchen putting it together on the kitchen table. It was actually missing a part, but I stole it from another machine, and so we were good to go. And then from there, I took the machine up to the office and I started printing, and I made these things. Let me show them to you. First, the Creality dog. I don't know if it's the Creality dog, but it's a dog that's on the SD cards as a demo print, and this is printed with the included white PLA. And I mean, quite honestly, look at it. It looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks gorgeous.
It looks fantastic. I'm really happy with that print. That was on the SD card. And I thought, well, okay, why don't we give it another shot? So I downloaded Creality Slicer, which is Cura 421, but with a Creality skin on it. Move away, Pooch. And I printed a mini Joel. Dang it. So this is printed with that included PLA as well, and I think it looked good. It's really hard to tell the detail on white filament, especially with some nice studio lights, and so we have some other colors here for you just to kind of take a look at. Wow, this is a mini Joel in the Airy One. That's the name, Airy One.
Airy?
Airy One, sure. ERYONE, Airy One marble PLA. I thought it turned out good. A little bit of stringing in the hair, but who doesn't have stringing in their hair, right? Mini Joel crotch looks good, although there's some strings between the knees. Naughty, naughty. But honestly, I mean, look at that, dude.
That's really good.
I think it's acceptable. It's not absolutely perfect, but honestly, for setting up the machine, slicing it with a default profile within the software, and hitting print on an unknown filament, seems to work out pretty good. This is Extruder GreenTech Pro. Yes, it's blue, but we can have that discussion later. And this is okay. This is okay. If you look at the detail in the face, the glasses, there's a little bit of loss there. Maybe it's too precise. I think, I don't know. I've had better luck with this filament. You saw it in the Prusa Mini review. On the Ender 3, maybe this just wasn't proper settings. I don't know. Again, just using the default profile within the software provided. This is Prusament. Look at that. That's not bad.
It's pretty good.
So look at the Mini Joel crotch. Look at that.
It's a good crotch right there.
That is a fantastic crotch. Face looks good. Hair looks good. There's these lines. Can you see these lines right here?
Barely, yeah.
Barely? Okay. There's some inconsistencies within the geometry of the model. This is actually modeled by Wexter, and I'm gonna talk to him about doing some fixing on the polygons in the model so it doesn't do that. But I mean, it looks good. This is in the ugly filament that Tom Sandladerer made.
Nice.
This is the filament that Tom Sandladerer made at Protopasta, trying to make an ugly filament. And honestly, I think I even tweeted out a picture of this because it's gorgeous.
That's great.
Yeah, you see the inconsistencies in the color, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's filament. That's not machine doing that.
That's just ugly.
And honestly, I mean, that's a fantastic Joel crotch.
Yep.
Now, though, let's talk about this benchy, why it's here, and then let's summarize kind of what we're doing with this machine right now. So this is the C-Mag surface. Ready?
Nice.
So it's magnetic, and then legit. It's like a floppy refrigerator magnet.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, something like that. I had an issue with a nozzle on the belt printer. I had a jam. So I got out my drill with a 1/16 inch drill bit, and I was trying to heat the nozzle with a heat gun and slowly use the drill to kind of pull out some of that filament. And then I pushed too hard and it goes right through the nozzle, and what we end up with is a nozzle that once you convert to metric has an orifice of 1.59 millimeters. And if you feed 1.75 millimeter filament through it, it's an interesting time to be alive. So what I did, I wanted a 0.4 on the belt printer, so I was able to swap out with this. Crazy enough, the extrusion system on this machine is similar, if not the same, as the extrusion system on the belt machine. But regardless, I put the giant nozzle on this machine and I sliced up a Benchy. And I hit print. This is with the printed solid Jessie PLA. No, it's not perfect.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. But the Ender 3 Pro chugged along with that giant nozzle that is bigger than it should be. And we got ourselves a Benchy. I mean, look at that.
I can read those words.
Pretty easily, I would imagine. Probably not those.
No.
The detail a 1.59 millimeter nozzle can achieve is a bit less than the standard 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So listen, this, what are we doing here, right? Well, I've had this for a while, and I know we're coming up on the holiday season. I don't know when this is gonna air, but at the same time, everybody's always looking for inexpensive machines that perform really well. And to say that I'm surprised by the Ender 3 Pro is a bit of an understatement. You see, when I put this together, I set it up, and then I didn't tune really anything. Sure, I had to swivel the large nuts for the bed.
Oh boy.
That's what it says on the website. And I tightened some of the eccentric nuts. I mean, really, this was just kind of get together, kind of get it going, and then set it and forget it. In fact, this machine is what we used as one of the 9 3D printers when Pooch was up and we were streaming, trying to get 11 filaments out of his rep box. And if you remember, the Benchy it created really wasn't bad. And to that effect, ever since I printed the Mini Joels, this was just sitting and collecting dust. I didn't have time to print with it, and other things took precedence. So to make it work for that stream, we set it up, we sliced something for it, and we hit go. That was it. So whether or not this is worth the added money over a standard Ender 3, I'm really not sure. Also, in a room right over there, I have an Ender 3 V2, which has some enhancements and which is actually more expensive than this. And a lot of people seem to like it, but at the same time, I haven't played with it personally, so I can't personally recommend it until I get it out of the box. Maybe I'll do that on a stream.
You should.
Maybe I'll do that on a stream. I think what we have here, this isn't a review. This is kind of just like a first look and how I'm surprised at how resilient this machine is. I know the community exists out there to modify it and do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. I know tons of people will say, get the Ender 3 series as a first machine. When I was putting this together, it wasn't the easiest experience, but I have some technical knowledge, and I was able to do it. I think other machines are still easier to put together, and you do pay that price. But honestly, right now, the Ender 3, the Ender 3 Pro, and the Ender 3 V2, which is going to be coming up, I think sit in a class where they are easy to recommend to those people who want a first machine and have a little bit of know-how behind them. People that can get around a toolbox and have a predilection towards, is that a word, predilection?
No idea.
Wow, okay. People that are technically minded, I think, or people that have an aptitude for just wanting to tinker.
An affinity.
An affinity. An affinity. Whether or not I'm going to review this machine, I don't know. I'm just excited that I get to use this and answer questions on it, right? That's part of what I'm doing here. What I want to do is have as much experience as possible with as many machines as possible. So when someone comes at me with a question about which machine they should get or which machine is better X versus Y, I'm armed with as much personal knowledge as possible. And so honestly, the Ender 3 Pro seems to be legit. Like, this is a machine that I would recommend, and I'm hoping that the Ender 3 V2 just follows in its footsteps, adds a couple bells and whistles, and just refines the experience even further. This is an epic Benchy. This is a Benchy that shouldn't exist. So this isn't a review. This isn't a first look. This is just like, I was surprised at the robustness of this machine. And obviously, you, the viewer, probably have some comments, whether or not you have one of these machines, or you have some upgrades in mind, or some advice for me, and I'd love to hear it all down in the comments. Well, listen, if you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more. Happy printing, and as always, high five. How was that for a quick little video?
It was fine, I think. Didn't you have? Wasn't this the Ender 3 Pro?
Yeah.
Actually? With the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad, right?
No, yeah, it looks good. One of the better ones.
Right. It's not perfect,
Right.
but really we took the machine and we just set it there and we hit go.
Yeah. Right.